I'm in love with my brother's girlfriend. Oopsie. He didn't say it like that, guys. I promise he didn't say it like that, but in my head I'm just like, basically that's the vibe we're getting. Secrets never go in a relationship. You heard it here first. Secrets are not good in a relationship. I think I just came up with that.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Hello, the time has come for the third and final season of The Summer I Turned Pretty, and here I am talking about it. Well, kinda, because it's not fully out, so here I am talking about the first 2 episodes, basically. I actively avoided this show these past few years. Actively decided to avoid it, pushed it away. I was like, I don't want anything to do with this show. But here I am finally tapping in. For what reason, I don't really know. Once I found out that the third and final season was coming out, I was like, you know what? Let's finally get into this. It's about to be over. Might as well just fully watch everything. And that was the plan until I found out that season 3 isn't coming out in one big, you know, chunk. Here you go, here's all of it. Instead, it's coming out in like an episode by episode weekly thing, which is awesome, which is great news to find out after I binge watched season 1 and season 2 in preparation for season 3, then finding out that season 3 I can't even watch it all at once. That was really awesome to find out. Honestly, if I had known that season 3 was gonna like come out in this like week by week thing, I would have like waited until the last episode in September. Yeah, the last episode's coming in September, which is crazy. I would have waited till September and then just watched season 1, season 2, season 3 all at once. There we go. But I already watched season 1 and season 2 because I wanted to do a video for it, and I thought season 3 was all going to come out. Then I found out that it wasn't all coming out, but I had already watched season 1, season 2, filmed my thoughts on season 1, season 2. It was a lot these last couple of weeks for me. So yeah, instead of this video being me talking about the entirety of season 3, it will be just me talking about the first 2 episodes of season 3. So yeah, all that to say, I kind of feel like I didn't explain that well, but that's why I decided to tap into The Summer I Turned Pretty finally, because I thought season 3 was coming out, third and final season, all at once, but it's not. But I sadly am still tapped in. Yeah, and you'll see why. Before we fully get into things though, I have 2 quick-ish things that I want to say. First, I want to say that I have actively, I think I basically already said this, but let's just say it one more time, sum it up in one little pretty little bow. I've actively avoided this show and this like fandom for the past few years, so I am kind of scared to see what people like end up seeing this video, because I feel like teen show fandoms are very feral. They can get a little spicy, a little mean at some points. I will say I have not read the books, or like I technically did read the books like in high school, but I remember nothing about the books. So let's just say I never read the books. Let's just sum it up there. Never read the books, so all of the opinions that I'm going to say is based on a girl who never read the books. All opinions are fully based on how the characters are portrayed in the show, not how they're portrayed in the books versus the show, whatever. Fully show opinions here. Fully show opinions here. Girl has not read the books. Girl has not read the books. So that's the first thing I want to say. Please be nice to me because I am a girl who's not read the books, so I'm only talking about the characters in the show, not what the characters are portrayed in the books. Please be nice to me because I feel like that's a big thing. I feel like that might be a big difference. It's like, how do you like this character? They're terrible because of this, and that. And all those things happen in the books. And I'm like, I didn't read the books. I just know what they're portraying to me in this TV show. So maybe that's why I like this character. So that's the first thing I need to say. Second thing I need to say is that I think I also kind of said this, but let's once again wrap this thought up in a pretty little bow. Also, my notes are down here. You'll see me looking down. So I did record my thoughts after watching season 1 and season 2. So let's quickly cut to me from a week or 2 ago talking about season 1 and season 2. Also, you can just like skip that if you want. Like there's timestamps for a reason. If you just want to hear me talk about season 3, skip ahead if you want, guys. It's okay with me. Live, laugh, love, do what you want. But if you're not skipping, enjoy me talking about season 1 and season 2. Let's cut to that now. Hello, the first thing I need to say is that I accidentally cut my hair too short, so now I'm dealing with the ramifications of my actions, aka me having to deal with it being too short until it grows into the desired length that I wanted, but accidentally didn't do. So yeah, that's fun. Anyway, I just watched the first season of The Summer I Turned Pretty, and let me quick fire my thoughts about it. Cool. Notes here, you know the drill. So the season started off pretty strong. I had very low expectations for the show. I thought it was just going to be simple, cringe television, teen television, and you know, I'm not a teen, so I know this is not really meant for me, but at the same time, sometimes teen television can be enjoyable. Case in point, Exo Kitty, that is very cringe, bad television, but I personally have a good time watching it. I know it's bad, but it's like bad in a good way, you know? But I fully expected this show to be bad in a bad way with maybe just like some tiny bits of enjoyable parts, but I was pleasantly surprised because the beginning of the season actually started off quite strong for me, and maybe that's because I had such low expectations, but I don't know, I kind of enjoyed it. But then we started dragging towards the end of the season. 5 and 6 were specifically rough watches because of how slow it was. 7 was like, you know, we finally are making it to the end, reaching the finish line. Everything that we were building up in 5 and 6 is finally hitting its peak. The climax, the precipice, whatever, is hitting in episode 7, so so that was like fine to watch. But 5 and 6, those were so slow, and yeah. But to sum that all up, I'm just going to say that the first few episodes of the season was much better than the last few episodes. I like the pacing of the first few episodes compared to last few episodes. Cool. Also, next thing I need to say is that this show loves putting a song on any scene, loves putting a song during any scene, any moment, especially a Taylor song, double especially an Olivia Rodrigo song, mainly Taylor though, which is very teen coded. I'm not gonna fault it for that. But some of the choices were actually very good choices. Like, okay, this works for here. Some of the choices were like, the vibes aren't matching, babe. What's happening here? So yeah, just wanted to point that out. Putting a song in every scene, very teen coded. I'm not gonna super fault it for that, but I just wanted to say it. Next up, I feel like we were way too chill about some of the things these kids were doing in the show. And by we were chill, I mean the adults were way too chill about some of the things these kids were doing. They were partaking in so much underage drinking, and like, you know, that makes sense if they hid it from the parents, but like they weren't even really like hiding it from the parents, and like nobody cared. Nobody cared? Nobody cared. Right. And I get it's summer, it's a bit of fun, but like the parents could at least be like, hey, you're like 16, 17, what's happening here? This is really weird. And then also when Conrad was like smoking pot all the time, like the mom literally gave no Fs, which was like, okay, heard, sure. Right. And then also Belly like getting her learner's permit. One, how is she practice driving with Jeremiah? It has to be an older person than that. Like it has to be a person with their license that is at least like in their 20s or something. I'm pretty sure. I'm not gonna qualm them on that law. Like, okay, she's practicing driving with him, a person that is just 1 year older than her. Sure, fine, I'll take it. I'll suspend my reality of disbelief, whatever. But in the last episode when her mom let her drive to the country club, you know, in anticipation for the debutante ball, like getting ready and stuff, what? She doesn't have her license. How are you letting her drive? She's like, you can practice, here you go, you can go alone, you can drive alone. What? With her learner's permit, she's driving alone? What? What town is this with these loose rules? What state is this with these loose rules? You know, for the first part, you know, her and Jeremiah practice driving, I can suspend my reality of disbelief. Sure, fine. With her driving alone, without a license, and also it was like established that she's not the best driver anyway because she doesn't know how to drive. Now she's driving alone. Okay, cool. Yeah. Sure. No, I'm not fine with that. I know I was not okay with that actually, so yeah. Next up, let's end this off by going to my season 1 main character ranking / thoughts. Actually, I know who I like the most, I know who I like the least, but the middle parts, it's like, okay, whatever, fill in your blanks however you care. First up, Jeremiah. I really like him. He's probably my favorite. As of right now, he's my favorite. As of where the season ended, he's my favorite. Actually thinking about the last episode, I'm like, yeah, and he was valid for punching Conrad, for not telling about the mom's cancer. When Jeremiah found out about it, he was so immediately going to Conrad like, hey, we need to talk, it's about mom, blah blah. And Conrad's like, yeah, I already know. And Jeremiah's like, you've been keeping this from me this whole time? And then he punched him in the face. Valid punch in the face. Why were you keeping that from him? That's kind of messed up. And like, oh, I get it, you know, if he was bottling up, that's like Conrad 101. He bottles everything up, keep it, push it down, push it down, whatever. But that's your brother, and you had months and you didn't tell him. That's kind of sucky behavior. Punch deserved. Sorry to say it. Anyway though, Jeremiah, like overall, just like his overall personality, love it. Fun, charmer, a little bit of Paul Baker from Adults Core. If you know, you know. If you know Adults, please go watch Adults so they gets renewed for season 2, please. But he was slightly giving Paul Baker core, Jack and core, with just being like such like a fun personality. But if you watched Adults, Paul Baker is so much better. Jack and kills, serves, does what he needs to do there. Double butt Jeremiah kind of gives those vibes, and I like it. He's just so fun personality, cool, flirts with everyone, bisexual king, we love to see it. He's just so fun and charming and flirty and fun. Physical touch is his main love language, and not even in a creepy way. He's just like happy to be there. He's happy to be there, and I love that. I love the energy. I love his energy. Thank you. I love his energy. Next up, Conrad, my least favorite character. Don't like him, don't trust him, and that's mainly because I'm just so over the main girl being madly in love with the hot and mysterious guy trope. I'm just so over that, especially when the said hot and mysterious guy, in this case Conrad, is mid, boring, no personality. Like, he is boring, he is mid, he is just a man that is kind of cute. Belly girl, we'll get to her in a second, but let me just finish my thoughts on him. He's just so boring. I'm sorry. And I also fear, and I think it's because of the actor's acting. He's like not that good. And I'm sorry to say it, and I'm really sorry. That's just how I feel. That's just my little opinion, my little stupid little opinion. But the acting isn't giving, and I fear that's why I really don't like Conrad, because the acting choices that are being made with him, and like the delivery on lines, and just like the lack of emotion and lack of like anything. I will say though, you know, it's a first season. I don't know. I didn't really look into this actor if he did anything before. Maybe this is like his first like big thing. I have high hopes. maybe not high hopes, I have hopes that maybe it will change by season 2. Maybe he'll have taken some acting classes in the off season and he'll have brushed up and like he'll be good. I don't know. I have hopes, not high hopes, but maybe he'll find his footing and the acting will be better, and maybe that will help me. I was gonna say maybe that'll help me like Conrad, but I don't know if that'll help me like Conrad. I don't think it'll help me like Conrad. He's hot and mysterious and boring and mid. Anyway, to wrap that up, I'm sorry to that man, the actor that plays Conrad, but I hope your acting does get better in season 2, because then maybe that will change my vibes on Conrad. We will see though, because at the same time, like, I still don't trust him, and I still don't like him for Belly. Oops, sorry to say it. Hello, here's editing me jumping in to issue an apology to Conrad defenders out there before y'all fight me for all the things I just said. Minor apology, very loose apology, nothing too serious, honestly, barely even an apology. Me starting an apology being like, I'm actually not apologizing for anything. But as I'm like editing this and like thinking about season 1 a little bit more, I'm like realizing, oh wait, you know, maybe the reason why his acting and just like Conrad himself, the character, whatever, felt so like mid and boring and no personality was because he was going, you know, through something that he was like bottling up throughout the entire season. You know, he knew about his mom's cancer, and like he was like really like shoving that down and like not letting anybody in. He was participating in a lot of like bad things, like, you know, smoking weed, drinking a lot, whatever. So like I'm like, okay, maybe those acting choices and maybe the reason why he felt so boring and mid and like zero personality was because he was just like, you know, bottling something up. But then I like, you know, I think about that and I'm like, okay, I don't think I need to be so harsh about him being boring and mid and no personality because of that. I do still think though that even though you are going through something, you're like bottling something up and like that's like the character, you know, vibes that you're trying to portray, there's still just something that felt so off about it though, because like you can do that or you can portray that in a character, but it still just needs to like give something, and in this case it still felt like it didn't give anything. So I do stand by most of what I said, but I don't mean it as harshly as I said it. I actually don't mean it as harshly as I said it just a second ago. So that's my minor apology for season 1 Conrad, specifically thinking about season 1 Conrad. You'll see what I say about season 2, but yeah, that's my minor apology for the Conrad defenders out there. I get why he seemed kind of boring and why I thought he was very mid and no personality in season 1. It was because he was sad boy hours in season 1. What personality is there to give when you're sad all the time? But there is still personality you can give, I will say. And I think that is faulting the acting and also probably faulting the writing for him too. That's all I have to say. That's my minor apology to the Conrad defenders out there. Don't hate me. Or if you want to hate me, don't be so mean about it. I am sensitive. Next up, Belly. She started off strong for me, weirdly enough. And maybe that's another thing because my expectations were so low. Like, I thought it was going to be like main character, I'm not gonna like you core. But at the beginning, I was like, okay, wait, she's actually like, I kind of get her. I kind of see her. She's actually not doing anything like too crazy right now. But then, like I said, you know, we started strong in the beginning of the season, then we slowly dwindled down and things went downhill. Same with Belly. Things went downhill for her very fast, and that's because, like, I hate when there's collateral damage in things. When somebody has to get hurt because the other person's, like, still in love with someone else, like, when the person that they're with to try to get over their person, that person gets hurt. I feel like I'm explaining this really bad, but essentially the Cam Cameron situation, like, she tried to get with Cam Cameron just to, like, forget about Conrad, whatever. And then we had to hurt Cam Cameron because you're trying to get with Conrad because Conrad finally looked at you for a second and, like, you almost kissed for 2 seconds. Like Cam Cameron was so sweet and nice and I love him. Like, what? And then there wasn't just the Cam Cameron collateral damage, which of course I saw coming from a mile away. You know, you never go with the sweet nice boy. You have to go with the boy that never looked at you and like finally he's looking at you, and like you have to go with the crush that you had for 6 years, whatever. But in addition to the Cam Cameron situation, there was also the Jeremiah of it all, where I'm like, okay, you kissed him, you're gonna be with him now. Once again, Conrad looks at you one more time again, and now you're running back to him. Another collateral damage. Cam Cameron, Jeremiah, I feel bad for both of them. That's what made her go downhill for me, especially the Jeremiah of it all, because I saw the Cam Cameron of it all, like, it had, like, that just made sense, but the Jeremiah of it all, you and Conrad had your almost kiss. He was like, I don't want to be with you, and then you run into Jeremiah's arms, kind of, sort of. They have, like, a really great little passionate looking kiss in the pool. And then the next day or a week later, or whatever the time frame was, you're running back to Conrad because he gave you another look-see. And I want to give her some grace because, yes, if your crush that you've had for 6 years finally starts to look at you differently, I would be maybe running in that direction too. But after you ran in that direction, you guys had your almost kiss, and then he pushed you away, you went into Jeremiah's arms. That should have been the end of it. That should have been the end of it. But of course it's not the end of it. And yeah, Belly girl, you're down there for me. Sorry about it. I'm trying to I gave you a little grace for a second with the Cam Cameron of it all because that made sense to me. But then the Jeremiah of it all, I'm like, okay, you can't do that, girl. You can't do that. You just can't do that. And she did it. And I'm Anyway, let's move on to Steven. Steven's okay. I feel very indifferent about him. Really like nothing much to say about him. I wasn't like super interested in the storyline between him and Shayla. It was like okay, I guess. It was very much a simple trope of like, I'm poor, you're rich, and I'm insecure because I'm poor and you're rich, but you don't care that I'm poor, you love me for me. You know, it's like that trope. But I guess it was kind of interesting to see it from like the guy's perspective, because I feel like with those tropes, we only see, it's usually like the girl that's poor and like the guy is rich. So it's kind of nice seeing like a little switch on its head, but at the same time, I don't care. Also, my lamp just... Oh, the power is going out. That's awesome. Okay, I'm gonna finish this because I'm almost done. Anyway, that's all my thoughts on Steven. I hope I said them all. The power situation is confusing me right now. Cool. Next up, the adults. Let's just lump them all together. I trust none of them. Like I said in the beginning, like the parents were way too chill about all of the things going on. Specifically, like by the parents, I mean, you know, the moms, Laurel and Susanna. Yes, that is their names. Yeah, they were just way too don't give a heck about what's happening with these kids. Like, yes, there were some moments like where the kids were coming home drunk. I think it was literally just one moment when the kids did that. And then when Belly got really drunk at the 4th of July thing, that was crazy. But I feel like there weren't enough like consequences, and I guess, you know, it's summer, you're supposed to let the kids have fun, but like let's care a little bit. I don't know, they were just way too chill when they did edibles just in the middle of the day. Okay, girls, okay, sure. I feel like they just wanted a girls trip, and they should just went on a little girls trip by themselves, away from the kids. I feel like that's what they wanted this summer to be, away from the kids, except for like Susanna, obviously with the cancer situation, like she wanted one last perfect summer, but it mainly seemed like her and Laurel wanted a little girls trip, which is perfectly fine. They should have went on a little girls trip and had a bit of fun, but they just really did not care. The adults in this did not care. They won that DGAF war for the most part. Yeah. Anyway, that's my thoughts on season 1. I'll see you when I watch season 2. Bye. Hello, here I am the next day here to talk about season 2, and I do have things to say. I have many things to say about this season. Debbie Ryan, hair tuck. Let's go. Okay, the first thing I need to say is that the way too casual mention of Susanna being dead and like the minute 5 of the first episode was wild to me. It was just like, yeah, and Susanna's dead. Minute 5, we're just dropping that bomb and said it so casually. That was crazy. That was crazy. Next up, my main gripe with the season is that we took so long to get somewhere. It was so slow paced, so draggy. I did not like the season because of how slow paced it was, and also the fact that this whole season was just basically a week. We just literally saw a week, when like last season we saw all 3 months of summer. This season we saw 1 week of summer, which is like makes sense, you know, they're trying to save the house, so that was like the big what's the word, the big plot of the season. And then also like all this flashback stuff. Let me tangent on that flashback stuff for a second. It also took way too long to get somewhere with that flashback stuff, that they were like showing how Belly and Conrad like got in a relationship and like broke up and blah blah blah, and I was like, the way they're dragging, like explaining to us and like filling us in on what happened between them, like how they got together and how they broke up, specifically how they broke up, they were taking way too long to get there, and I hated it. And I was like, okay, all this build up, the, you know, payoff better be so good, but the payoff was terrible, and it was such a letdown. Like the way they broke up at prom, it was so dramatic, but it was so dumb. Like the way they broke up was so dumb. Like him just shutting down and not talking, like I thought it was at least gonna be like a big argument, shouting something, a big like surprise moment, something. The way they were building this up, I was like, something crazy must have happened. Literally nothing crazy happened. He just shut down, and she was like, we're over, you're pushing me away, like you're shutting me out, we're over. They're crying in the rain at prom. So dramatic, crying in the rain at prom, and just to have that be the way they break up, you had the perfect little dramatic aspects. Drop a bomb on me, drop something crazy on me, tell me he cheated or something. That would be kind of crazy. Like he was shutting down and then like he cheated on her because he was just like shutting down, like felt nothing. That would be kind of crazy. If they did that, and I think I would have respected that more than what we got as like the big reveal to them breaking up. But I will say, skipping to the funeral, that funeral moment, now that was tea. That was crazy. That was a moment. And also I hate when arguments happen in front of a bunch of people. It really gives me such secondhand embarrassment, and I cringe out every single time. But in that moment it was like kind of tea. And also her falling, why is she always falling and like everybody's always seeing it? Like anytime an embarrassing fall happens for her, like the whole world is seeing it, and I hate that, and it makes me feel really bad for her. Really bad for her, but I'm also laughing because like why does that have to happen to this girl every time she has an embarrassing fall? Everybody sees it. It's crazy. But yeah, the whole funeral moment was tea, and that was probably the best flashback moment because of how crazy that was. She was like, I hate you. He was like, you're a brat or something. He's like, grow up. Or he's like, oh, it was a mistake ever being together. I wish we were never together. This was a mistake. Like that was tea. That was interesting. But like their breakup in general, the breakup at prom, mid, boring. It was not good enough for like the way the writers like built up, like, oh, they're gonna have such a big falling out. Like the falling out that happened at prom was like not even that crazy of a falling out, you know? Now what happened at the funeral, if that was what happened at prom, that would have been like kind of awesome to me. Not awesome, but like it would have just been like a much bigger payoff, a better payoff to like really building up so much build up with like all those flashback moments, you know what I mean? I just went on a crazy tangent. It probably didn't even make sense. What else is new? So yeah, overall the season was just the season of like sadness and grief. Finding out like where we pick up in present day was only a month after her death is like so crazy to me. When like we were building up like the relationship, like they were together for like a nice little minute then. Six months. Like they started talking once they were like in school, but I think they full sended it, and like Halloween, like he came over and like they full sended we're in a relationship now, blah blah blah. We saw them moments during Christmas, Thanksgiving, and then prom was when they ended. I'm assuming prom was like April or something, I don't know, but yeah, they were together for like a hot little minute. But overall, let me get back to my original point. This season was a season of like sadness and grief, and for the most part I do get it. On some level I do get it, but at the same time that doesn't change that the season was pretty boring and it was very slow and draggy. Like the fact that we were literally seeing like one day as an episode, nighttime as an episode, the next day as an episode, like no time skips. It was just like, okay, we're kind of dragging this, we're kind of trying to drag this a little too much. I'm a bit bored and it's slow. Sue me, sorry to say it. Moving into like the specific characters, I guess, you know, main character rankings, thoughts. I feel pretty indifferent towards everyone. I feel like I feel the same way as I did last season towards everyone, except for Jeremiah. I feel really bad for him, and I do think I feel like I like him the same amount as I did. I didn't like start disliking him more this season. I don't think I liked him more this season, maybe a little bit more. I don't know, I just feel really bad for him. Like all the stuff he had to go through from last summer to like this summer was like crazy. He had to actively see his mom die, he had to watch his brother go out the girl of his dreams, and like that said girl of his dreams was also his best friend, and he can't even talk to her anymore about like, you know, just like anything he's feeling because she's dating his brother. And also like they have a little moment and like their friendship is broken because like she chose the brother over him. Homie went through it that last year. Homie went through it from like last summer to this summer, and I feel like really bad for him. Yeah, I ended the season feeling quite bad for him. And then when thinking about the love triangle specifically, I definitely like Jeremiah the most. Not even like for Belly, just like out of those three people, I like Jeremiah the most. And I still like Conrad the least. And I do say that because no, his acting did not get better. Hopes were not fulfilled, if that's the right thing. I don't know. His acting just was like the same and emotionless, no personality, boring, mid. That's who Conrad is. And also he's just like such a bury it down deep type of guy, and that's just annoying to see. So yeah, and then also thinking about like him and Belly, you know, like we were seeing like the progression of the relationship, like the cutesy stuff before things went bad and downhill, and even that I'm like, I personally see zero chemistry between these two characters. Like I'm sorry, but I see zero chemistry between these two people. And also maybe that's because the chemistry Jeremiah and Belly have is just like so good, and like I feel like that's mainly because of Jeremiah, because of like the big personality, like he's such a fun guy, charmer, physical touch is his number one love language, but like not in a creepy way. He just loves to hug and like he loves to give her a little twirl around. And I just like see so much more chemistry between them two than what we saw of her and Conrad. Sorry to say it felt like they had zero chemistry, and maybe that's because I'm solely comparing it to the chemistry we see between Jeremiah and Belly. There's just like no way, and like fully like somebody give me examples, give me timestamps, give me this that, I don't know, but it's just like for me personally there's no way I could ever be like Conrad and Belly are so meant to be versus Jeremiah and Belly, because like Conrad and Belly, like there's just no chemistry. Honestly, the only time they have chemistry is when like they had that argument at the funeral. Like I was like, okay, wait, there's kind of something here. Like anytime they're like mad at each other, that was kind of chemistry. But like them being like lovey-dovey and supposed to be in love with each other, nothing to me. It literally was like nothing to me. I wasn't smiling at my screen like, oh, this is cute, like seeing a crush come to fruition, like, oh, like that's so cute. No. Meanwhile, when Jeremiah like gives her a hug and like twirls her around, I'm like, oh, that's actually very sweet to see. I'm not like smiling widely at my screen because I honestly don't care for any of these people. Sorry about it. But I can recognize like, okay, that's really cute, and like they seem like they have much better chemistry and like much better like vibes and even just like friendship chemistry than Conrad and Belly. Sorry to say it. Sue me. If you're team Conrad, sue me. I'm sorry. Anyway, now let's move on to Belly character specifics. I thought she'd be terrible this season, but she wasn't as terrible as I thought. She definitely did a lot of bad things, but at the same time, she also seemed like very remorseful and like apologetic about the bad things that she did. Like having that little scene at the funeral, she apologized about that to her mom and whatever. Also like leaving Jeremiah, like not checking up on him during that entire year of like everything that was happening with his mom, and like she just like didn't talk to him at all. She was like apologizing for that, and like that was nice to see. see. So like, yeah, she did some bad things, but it definitely seemed like she was like apologetic and remorseful for it and like trying to do better. So I didn't hate Belly. Like she was definitely like selfish during that funeral moment and like selfish during like all that Jeremiah stuff, but it definitely seemed like she was like coming around by the end, and like she knew that she was selfish. She wasn't like, no, but that's like not my fault. Like she understood that it was her fault. So I can't really hate her for that, and I don't hate her for that, and I think I'm okay with her. Right now I'm okay with her. Especially her choosing Jeremiah at the end. I am definitely okay with that, and her being like, Conrad has no place in my heart, like I'm setting you free, and then him shutting down again like the last conversation they have, and her being like, you know what, and why would I expect anything different from this man? Like this is who he is. He shuts down, he shuts me out, he bottles things up, and I am setting myself free from that. I'm setting him free from my heart, or whatever. I'm down for that personally. I'm down for that growth from her personally. Do I feel like we're going to go way backwards in season 3? Yes, I do. Well, yes, I do. After watching the trailer for season 3, it just makes me sigh. It's nice to see that we have a nice little time skip, like 4 years, I'm pretty sure, because she's gonna be a junior in college, and it seems like we're gonna have another like spin the block situation on our hands, kids, which is so awesome to see. Please note the sarcasm. From the trailer, her and Jeremiah are gonna get married or something, but then like Conrad's coming back to the picture and like she might fall for him again. It's gonna be another situation like, who do I choose? And honestly, if they try, I feel like they're gonna try to force Conrad on us. And honestly, if the writers are going to do that, they better make sure these two people have chemistry that is off the charts, undeniable. The scenes between them better be so undeniable, like, oh my god, they're just like, come on, they have to be together. Like, if I'm not saying, okay, come on, like they have to be together, watching scenes of them before they, you know, fully put them together, then the writers did something wrong. Like, if they're going to force Conrad back on us, they better make it seem like so undeniably perfect. They better make that man perfect. The acting better be perfect. The writing better be perfect. The writing between them two, the chemistry, like I said, the chemistry better seem so absolutely undeniably perfect between those two for me to accept her choosing Conrad over Jeremiah. Because as of right now, it just seems so clear, like they seem so good together. They seem like they would be perfect together. Even in some of those clips of the trailer of her and Jeremiah being together, like their relationship and how that's been going, it seems so sweet and so happy. But then like some of the clips they were trying to show of, like her and Conrad talking, it's like, you're gonna try to serve this to me, it better be good. That's all I need to say. It better be good and it better be worth it. Because if not, I will be very upset. And that's all I'm gonna say on that. Me being like, oh, that's the last thing I'm gonna say about that, but actually I'm about to say one more thing. Like, they better just show the viewers that there is no doubt that she should be choosing Conrad if they're going to try to serve that on us. They better show that Conrad somehow is infinity times more perfect. Infinity, haha, get it? They better show that, because if they don't, then it's just gonna look so stupid. She's gonna look so stupid, and I hate the thing. It's like, but he was my first love. Who cares? Why does that doesn't matter. First love does not mean last love. First love does not mean only love. First love does not mean best love specifically. I'm scared for what the season's gonna bring, and I know I'm just gonna be disappointed. So whatever, I'll see you when it happens and when it comes out. Bye now. If you did just skip ahead and skip me talking about season 1 and season 2, here's just like basically what you need to know about how I felt after watching season 2. I don't really care for Conrad, I like Jeremiah, and I'm okay-ish with Belly. That's basically like the big deal stuff that you need to know. Now let's get into season 3, specifically season 3, episode 1. Let's go. Notes are here, you know the drill. So we first start off episode 1 with seeing Belly starting her freshman year of college, and then we time skip 3 years to the end of her junior year of college, which is also the end of Jeremiah's senior year of college. Also, Taylor goes to this college. Also, it's Finch College, which is the college that we saw in season 2 that Jeremiah was going to, and like, you know, the end of season 2, they took a little trip around and he bought her a sweatshirt and she's like, I think I really want to go here, blah, blah, blah. That's where this episode begins, baby. Cat cam. Now let's kind of go like character by character, the important characters for me specifically, about what's going on with them in this first episode, and also just like what's been going on with them these past 3 years. So first up, Conrad. Conrad's in therapy. We love to see it. The one person, you know, all of these characters need therapy, but the one that needed therapy the most was definitely Conrad. So I'm glad to finally see him tap into that. Also, he looks like he's really enjoying Stanford and like having a good time at medical school. Looks like he's doing very well there, and we love to see that too. And he also has this friend named Agnes who seems really cool. I like her personally. She seems like a fun time. And I don't even mean that in a way like, oh, they should be romantically linked together or whatever. No, I simply mean that in like she just seems nice. Their friendship seems cool. Thank you. Jeremiah's in a frat. Boo, tomato, frat, boo, boo, boo. We hate to see that. Somehow they're like, oh, that makes sense for him. And like, when I really think about it, I'm like, does it? I'm like, yeah, I guess. Charming guy, super like personable. I guess it makes sense he was in a frat. Low-key, I'd be like, you know what? Why isn't he like in musical theater or something? He would kill in the theater program. He would kill if he was a part of the theater program. He would kill if he was like in musicals or plays or whatever. I feel like he'd be a great vibe in there. So frat bro, and don't necessarily know if I really see that. Musical theater bro, I can see that. I can see that. Anyway though, also homie is not graduating. He's not graduating, which was crazy news to hear. Like, how does that work? He was like, oh, I went to pick up my camping gown and my name wasn't on the list. Stuff with that, like, I don't know, I only have my own college experience to like pull from and whatever, but like when stuff like that happens in like TV shows and like movies, I'm just like, what do you mean? That's not how it works. That's not how this works. You couldn't have not known that you weren't graduating until you picked up your cap beyond. That's how you found out. Like, you would have known ages before that. Where's your advisor? Where's this? Like I said, I only have my own college experience to pull from, and I know like how my school worked and like how they were like, you know, this is what you need to do, and like even if you switched your major, then there was always like somebody ish there to like guide you in a way, but like not like hold your hand and guide you, but like an email or two sent out, hey, make sure you apply to graduate and this and that. But apparently he also didn't read his emails and like whatever, and also apparently the main reason why he's not graduating is because he switched his major and then he forgot to do a couple classes when he switched his major, some like core classes. So yeah, he needs to take those core classes to be able to graduate. But anyway, at the end of the day, all you need to know is that Jeremiah is not graduating from college. He needs to do one more semester to be able to graduate. Next up, Taylor and Steven. Just gonna group these two together because like for obvious reasons. Taylor's in a sorority, boo, also boo, tomato to that as well. But it also just like fully makes sense for her. Like, of course she would be in a sorority. That's just simply so Taylor coded. Also Steven graduated from Princeton early allegedly, and he's now working as like an intern or something at Jeremiah and Conrad's dad's company. Like wherever their dad works at, that's where Steven's at right now, finance bro, doing all that stuff currently. Also, there's a Taylor and Steven cheating plot line happening, which is so boo, another tomato to throw at this episode. Hate that, absolutely hate that. And it's just so annoying because like these past 3 years they were like, we always like hooked up sometimes and like would go back and forth on and off with each other, but there were never like other people involved. Like, she has a boyfriend right now, he has a girlfriend right now, and yet they're cheating with each other. Hate that. Once again, boo tomato, hate it. And yeah, that's what's going on with them. Next up, Belly. We find out that she got injured. They don't specifically say like when she got injured, at least I don't think they said it, but yeah, she got injured, messed up her knee, and now she no longer plays volleyball. However, that injury did help her find her like major, like she wants to do sports psychology, so that's cool. A nice like light at the end of the tunnel vibe. We also find out that she got off the wait list for this Paris study abroad thing for like the fall semester. Sometimes the way they spoke about it made it seem like it was going to be the entirety of her senior year next year, but like I thought they just said it was only gonna be the fall semester, so now I'm a little confused. But whatever, the logistics don't really matter for it right now. All you need to know is that she got off the wait list for study abroad in Paris, and from the second I heard that news, I was like, woo, you have to do it. You simply have to do it. I am the biggest study abroad advocate right here. So yeah, when Belly first tells them, she's like really excited about it because as far as she knows, you know, Jeremiah is graduating this year. She thought she was gonna be like alone for like senior year, so she wanted to have something like to do. So she's like, oh, I'm not even gonna be alone anymore. I'm gonna be able to go to Paris, study abroad, whatever. But then when she goes to see Jeremiah and to like tell him this news, she's like really excited about it. But then she sees him in his dorm room and he's like really sad, and she's like, what's going on? And that's when he tells her that he's not graduating, he's gonna be like stuck here for another semester. But then he's like, oh, the light at the end of the tunnel, at least I'll be here with you next semester. And then in that moment, she does not tell him about her study abroad thing. I guess like not the best timing to like tell him when he just found out he's not graduating. You're saying that you're about to like leave for a semester or whatever. Like, I guess that wouldn't have been the right timing. But there was something about like the way her face looked in that moment that I was like, girl, you better not give up the study abroad trip just because of him. You better not do that. You better not freaking do that. And with that being said, let's kind of just like get into Jeremiah and Belly and like their, you know, relationship, whatever. So first up, who doesn't love a best friends to lover storyline? It's always so sweet and happy and cutesy for the most part. I said it once and I'll say it again. He loves to give that girl a twirl whenever they're like having some sort of embrace. Whenever they're hugging and kissing, he loves to give that girl a little twirl. And it always makes me giggle. And it will always make me giggle and laugh and like kind of cringe, but like in a nice way. I don't know, but that will always just make me laugh. But anyway, like I said, we love a best friends to lover storyline. However, I will say there was something about them that was giving a bit like codependent clinginess, kind of like, and not in a cutesy good way. Codependent is never cutesy and good. And I'm especially saying this because there was a moment where it was Belly talking to Steven and she was like telling him about her study abroad thing, and she's like, oh, I don't know if I really want to go because like Jeremiah is going to be here and I think I just probably want to stay with him. The only reason that I applied for the study abroad thing was because I thought I was going to be alone senior year, and since he's going to be here, like maybe I should just stay here with him. And then she was also like, oh, after all the Susanna stuff happened, happened, I swore to myself that I would never like leave him alone again and like never be away from him type of vibe. And when she said that, I was like, oh, that's not cat cam. And when she said that, I was like, oh, that's just simply not. But then eventually she does tell Jeremiah about the Paris thing, and his reaction is genuinely a great one. I was kind of nervous. I thought he was going to be like I thought his initial reaction was definitely going to be bad. He's gonna be like, what, you're leaving me, blah blah. He would definitely make it about himself. But no, he was genuinely like happy for her, and it didn't even seem like he was trying to like pretend to be happy for her. He genuinely seemed happy for her, which is a great reaction. Love to see it. I was like, okay, wait, maybe they're not super codependent and super clingy and like super like this. Like maybe they're actually healthy. Maybe they're actually healthy and good. But then at the end of this episode, we find out that Jeremiah kind of sort of cheated on her. And I say kind of sort of because they made it seem like it was a Ross and Rachel kind of cheating situation. You know, very like we were on a break core from Friends. If you know, you know. I'm not gonna explain Friends to the masses right now. So basically what we find about the situation in this episode is that Jeremiah went on this spring break frat trip to Cabo, and he had sex with one of the sorority girls that were there. But in his head, him and Belly were broken up, so technically like it was not cheating. But then at the end of the day though, it's like you never told her about it, so I can't really defend you for that one, Jeremiah. And here's another boo tomato tomato. Now let's move into Belly and Conrad and what's going on there. There's basically like nothing going on there, absolutely nothing at all. But there was this very brief phone call between them in this episode, and it was like very awkward, and it felt like there's a lot of like tension in that phone call. Even as brief as it was, like you could definitely pick up on the awkwardness, and you can definitely pick up on like some tension going on between them. And I will say, dare I say, that awkwardness and that tension was kind of giving. I'm like, wait, what's going on? Hello? What's happening here? For once, I'm like, wait a second. For once, for the first time ever, I was like, wait a second. Hello, what's happening here? There was something about this like awkwardness and this like weird tension. I don't know what kind of tension, but just some sort of tension between them that I was like, okay, wait a second. I see something here. Something's giving, and I'm enjoying. Sorry to say it. Also, we find out in this episode that he still loves Belly. There's this conversation happening between him and Agnes, and he basically says that, which is like, of course, obviously so. None of us are surprised. Of course, he still loves this girl. It was never like the fact that he didn't love her and like he didn't feel like so deeply for her. It was just the fact that he was never in the right headspace to be in a relationship. It was never about like what his feelings for Belly were. Like he always loved her. He always felt for her. He always felt something for her, something romantically for her. It was just that he had so much stuff, like inner stuff to work on, that he couldn't be in a relationship. So of course it makes sense for him to be like, hey, yeah, I still love her. I'm in love with my brother's girlfriend. Oopsie. He didn't say it like that, guys. I promise he didn't say it like that, but in my head I'm just like, basically that's the vibe we're getting. Anyway, and that was episode 1. It basically ends with that Jeremiah and Belly fight, her essentially like breaking up with him and her literally like running away. It was very cringe to see her like running away from the party they were at where she like found out that information, and them having like a fight and then her like running off. That was really cringe to see, but that's how the episode ends. Her basically being like, I can never trust you again, we're donezo, boom. That's episode 1. Now let's move into episode 2. Cool. So to begin the episode, we see a flashback moment of how all the Cabo stuff went down. They had a big fight because he forgot to tell her about the trip, and then he was also like kind of like going through some stuff with his dad in this moment, so he's already being like very like moody and weird towards her, and this like Cabo thing was kind of like what pushed everything over the edge, I guess you could say, and like that's what really got a fight going between them. This fight definitely ends with him breaking up with her. He's like, we're done, and she's like, okay, cool, bye. But for some reason in Belly said she only saw it as a fight and not as a breakup, so yeah. And then he comes back from Cabo and they like talk and make up, and he's like, does this mean we're back together? And she's like, we were never not together, silly, like it was just a fight. And he's like, oh, like in his head it was a breakup, in her head it was a fight. So definitely some like miscommunication there. He thought they were broken up, so he didn't think it was cheating what he did with that girl. But I still can't defend you, Jeremiah, because like in that moment where they kissed and made up, that's where he should have said what he did in Cabo. Because then it's like, okay, you both thought you were going through 2 different things. That's okay. That was a miscommunication. We could get through that if you just told her the truth in that moment. But he lied and he didn't tell her the truth, and he was trying to hide it from her. That's what I can't defend. Like the technicality cheating thing, it's like, okay, yeah, in your head we were broken up. Technically you didn't cheat on me, but you didn't tell me about what happened. Like in that moment, that's when he should have told her right there, because then they could have just like maybe had another fight about it, but like been able to work through it quicker, whatever. But like it just built up so much because you never told her, because you lied, because you kept it a secret and you wanted to keep it hidden. It makes it a bigger deal. Jeremiah, I can't defend you there, sir. Sorry bro. Tomato, sorry. Anyway, so what else happened this episode? Jeremiah's trying to apologize to Belly, but she's not having it and she refuses to talk to him. Steven gets into a car accident, which is crazy to see, and I kind of don't want to talk about the logistics of that, but it's basically like the Taylor and him situation. He wants to be with her like fully completely. He broke up with his girlfriend. She doesn't really want to like fully commit to anything with him because like they were fully committed before and like it didn't work out somehow. They're in his car while this is happening. She's like, I don't want to talk to you, like let me out of the car, let me out of the car. He pulls over, lets her out of the car, and then he's trying to like make a U-turn to like go and follow her because she's like walking away, and then a car comes and like T-bones him and car crash. So yeah, Steven's in the hospital. Also, Conrad gets fired from this doctor job thing that he like literally just got. He gets fired on his first day because he mislabeled some blood, and the doctor lady's like, you can't be making mistakes like this, you're not ready for this, you're fired, apply again next year, blah blah blah. And honestly, that really sucked to see, and I actually felt very bad for him. But now his summer's completely open, so interesting. Also, I fully forgot to mention this when talking about the last episode. There's this like memorial garden thing for Susanna and Cousins, and Jeremiah and Conrad have to make this big speech thing, and like everybody's going to this huge memorial thing. And because of Conrad's job, he was not gonna be able to go to it, but like I said, now his summer's free, so he will be able to go to this thing, and he'll also be able to do the speech thing that him and Jeremiah are supposed to do. And yeah, definitely forgot to mention this memorial garden thing when talking about episode 1, but here I am talking about it now. Also in this episode, we get a flashback scene between Belly and Conrad from Christmas at Cousins. She decided to go there alone because she thought she would be spending Christmas alone, so she was like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna go to Cousins and have a little moment there. And then Conrad shows up. He was supposed to go skiing with his dad and Jeremiah, then his flight got canceled because of the weather, so he was like, screw it, I'm gonna go to Cousins. He doesn't know Belly's there, Belly doesn't know he's coming, and boom, there's a moment there. Honestly, this moment was like kind of slight, not gonna lie, it was kind of sweet to see. They play Mystery of Love by Sufjan Stevens during this moment, which was the craziest vibe ever, but also in the same time, like it kind of aided in like the sweetness that I enjoyed by seeing this moment. So at the end of the day, they did what they needed to do by putting Mystery of Love in this scene. And I don't even mean that in like a romantic way, like this is a very romantic scene to see between these two. It was actually not like inherently romantic at all. It was super like friendship vibes between them. And it was actually really cool to see friendship vibes between them because I feel like we were never served that in a way that felt like natural and like platonic for the most part. I feel like everything that was like served to us of them was always like supposed to be like romantic and like these two people need to be together and like whatever. This moment felt very like they're just two people that used to be in a relationship, and here they are trying to be friends with each other. The little banter they had in these moments and like the little like conversations they would have, they were literally like spending time with each other, but like not really. Like she was reading a book and like watching a movie or something, and he was like doing a crossword puzzle. Like they were just like together, but like they weren't like together in this moment. And then also, like I said, they had like some nice banter and some fun conversations. It definitely felt very friendly, and I love to see that. And for the first time, I'm like, wait, I actually kind of see something between these two. And like I said, writers, in order for me to like them, you better make it seem like it makes sense. And so far, with this moment of actually like seeing like friendship between them, I see something. I'm like, okay, wait, something could maybe make sense here. Finally, I feel that. And finally, I'm feeling okay, because I feel like I know which way the season's gonna go. And like I said, if they're gonna force Billy and Conrad on us, I need to like feel like it makes sense. I need it to feel like it's the only option type of vibe. And with what they're slowly like trickling in on us, I kind of could maybe see it. For once, I'm saying that with my full chest, and that's really cool to say and to see. Awesome. Anyway though, she never told Jeremiah about this like Christmas one with Conrad, so she's like, you know, he kept the Cabo thing a secret, but I also have like a little secret of my own, which like this is apples to oranges. You can't really compare what he did in Cabo to like this moment with Conrad because it was just like friendly, but I do get it. She definitely probably should have still told Jeremiah about that moment, because what would he really have thought of it? I don't know. Your brother hanging out with your girlfriend and that's also his ex-girlfriend. A little weird, a bit of weird. One, I get why she didn't tell him that. Two, she definitely should have probably told him that. Secrets never go in a relationship. You heard it here first. Secrets are not good in a relationship. I think I just came up with that. Anyway, back to present day, back to present moment. All of that stuff that happened with Steven like really puts everything into perspective for Belly. So she lets herself talk to Jeremiah and they have a conversation and she forgives him. It is maybe important to mention that in this moment she does not finally like, you know, tell him about the Conrad Christmas thing. That's still like a secret that she's keeping tucked away in her own pocket. And I do think like maybe she should have maybe said it in this moment, but I don't know. Maybe it's like a confession for a different time. Who knows? I don't know, but I feel like that's gonna be important information because it is kind of a big thing. Anyway though, in this like conversation where she forgives him, they're also talking about like how much they love each other and how much they like want to be in each other's lives forever, and like they can't imagine life without each other, etc, etc. And that leads to Jeremiah proposing to Belly, and she's obviously like, yes, of course, yes, and they hug again. I'm pretty sure he also twirls her in this moment, but I actually kind of can't remember. But yeah, she says yes and they kiss, and that's the end of episode 2. So my overall overall general thoughts about what's happened so far in these first 2 episodes is, one, why has the acting kind of like flipped on its head for me? Like, Jeremiah is falling a bit flat for me, like acting wise, specifically when it comes to like the serious scenes he has. And Conrad, why am I kind of enjoying him? I can definitely say that I'm enjoying him more this season than I have in the past 2 seasons, which is huge news for me. After season 2 was kind of like a letdown for me, like acting wise, Conrad wise, I was like, I'm probably just like never gonna like this guy's acting, like maybe it's a me problem at the end of the day. But this season I'm like, wait, I kind of like, I'm seeing something. I don't know, there are some line deliveries that I'm like, could have been better, but like in an overall like overarching sense, I'm kind of enjoying him. Never thought I would say that, but here we are. And maybe it's like the Agnes of it all, I don't know, I just really like her and I really like their friendship, and it's nice to see him talk to someone that's like completely outside of like the family circle, like someone that's like completely detached, has no like relations with anybody else, the cousins group, you know. So it's really nice to see that, and I feel like we kind of see a different side to him because of that. I don't know, maybe I'm just like saying things, but I really like Agnes and I hope we keep her around. Friendship vibes, purely friendship vibes. I definitely can never see anything romantic between them. He's so obviously in love with Belly, and anybody else that he like tries to be with is just like, it would just be like a waste of time and another like Cameron situation. So I definitely like Agnes, I definitely like their friendship. Keep her around, please and thank you. And that's all I really have to say about season 3 so far, honestly, like in an overall, my general thoughts about it. I am really upset that we have to wait week by week for this, even though I do think that's how they did it for the last season. I don't think that's how they did it for season 1. I think season 1 dropped all at once, but like the last season I think they did it week by week. I just think that's so annoying, especially for like the last season. It's just like, give it all at once. Sorry, you're not Stranger Things. Don't try to drag this out. You're not Stranger Things, babe. I'm sorry, that felt a little mean and maybe I'm rejecting, whatever, but I thought I was just going to make a whole season 3 video all at once, but now I don't know what I'm gonna do. What would you guys like to see? 1, do you even want another video talking about the summer I turned pretty? 2, if you even do want that, do you just want me to wait till the whole season's done and then just talk about the entirety, the whole thing of season 3? Or 3rd option, do you want me to kind of go like maybe wait for a couple episodes to drop then talk about it, maybe like split it to 2 videos, first half of season 3 aside from these first 2 episodes and like the last half of season 3? What do you guys want? Did I even explain that well? I don't know, but the main question at the end of the day, do you even want me to talk about this show anymore? Because if you don't, I'm completely okay with kind of just like pushing this to the side and just watching this on my own time and not like making a video and talking about it. What do you guys want? Let me know. All feedback regarding this decision is wanted, so please give me some of that. I don't know what I'm saying. Thank you for watching. See you in the next thing. Bye bye now.